I'm Rob Kircher, and welcome to our 1905 cottage restoration. This is an ongoing series of episodes with my wife Barbara and I restoring this once diamond and rough behind me. Now, we've made lots of improvements over the last year, completing the first floor and most of the second, but there are still many more challenges yet to be overcome. Taking a break from the inside, and while the fall weather is absolutely wonderful here in upstate New York, we're turning our attention to the front yard and building a garden arbor. Can't wait. So stay with us as we spend time, money, and effort transforming this old cottage into an incredible restoration. Is sprinkling, and Lake Ontario, maybe you can hear it in the background, is rocking and rolling, but that's not going to deter me from starting a project that I wanted to do for a long time. Behind me is this knee wall that I created out of Medina stone that we unearthed in our yard, and in the middle here is a little walkway. I'm going to build an arbor that is going to just arch over that opening, so it's an inviting area for people to walk into our yard. So I can't wait to start it, and I'd love you to hang with me and watch me as I create this amazing garden arbor. I'm going to begin by removing my pumpkins temporarily, because this is where I have to dig some post holes for the 4x4s that I'm going to be using as the base of this arbor. As you can see, it's been raining on and off. I've got my hat on, got my raincoat on, but I have managed to get 2 of our post holes dug at this point, so I'm happy about that. And now I'm going to work on the other side. Well, I had to move a couple of my daisies out of the way to get this third hole in here, but I'll be replacing them once the arbor is up. The whole idea is to make the arbor look like it's been here for a long time. So I really don't want to disturb too much of the plantings, but at the same time, kind of just make it look, like I said, like it's been here for a long time. Here are my 4x4s, pressure treated. They're 8 feet long, and these are going to be obviously the posts for the holes. And what I've done is measured 24 inches from the bottom. You can see that mark right there, and that's going to be in the hole. So 24 inches in the hole, 6 feet above. Things are looking up. The sun is shining, which is a very good thing. And secondly, I got all my lumber on the horses, and I've got pressure treated 2x4s and 2x6s, and they're all 8 feet long. The next thing I'm going to do is actually square and level, if you will, and plumb the 4 posts, and then we can start putting the concrete in the post holes and let it sit overnight, and all will be good in the neighborhood. Before I called an end to the day yesterday, I got my support beams up on the 4x4s, and that levels and plumbs them. And then I pour the concrete into the holes and water those down. And so they would have all evening to set up. So now I'm ready to go on to step number 2, and that is to start putting in my overhead beams. Okay, that's the first of the finials, and I have to put one on either end. Both of the main rafters are going across the top. Before I finished for the day yesterday, I cut the top rafters on our arbor, and then with my jigsaw I fashioned the finials at either end. Now what I'm going to be doing is notching out those rails. Well, this is what the rafter looks like with the notches out. so they fit securely on top of the cross beams. Okay, and then I screw two 3.5-inch deck screws into each one of these rafters, and it secures the top board and makes it very, very sturdy. So the whole structure is going to become very, very solid. Beautiful. Well, here is my inexpensive lattice, and what it really is cedar fencing. So this is a slat that you can buy. All these are. You can buy at your local big box, and they're very inexpensive. You cut this dog ear off, that's what they call a dog ear, and then I'm going to run it through my sander, sand it down a little bit, and then I'm going to rip it about 1.5 inches. And end up with about maybe 3.5, maybe 4, who knows. Beautiful fall day, and I already went to the big box this morning to buy a fresh supply of my cedar fencing planks. The reason for that is I miscalculated. I needed to have a lot more, gotta get my microphone cord out of the way here, to finish the job on both sides. I'm gonna grab myself a cart here. Well, the pickings are a little slim here. This is all they have left. But again, I only need, I think I'm going to take 5, just to be on the safe side. Well, this one looks relatively straight. So I'll take this one. That makes 3. Okay, I got my 5 boards. Heading to the checkout, and then back to the farm. Well, at $2.08 a board, I think I got it pretty good. Now, when you talk about, which I love thinking about, aesthetics, when I look at something, it's got to make sense to me. It's got to look right. So the grids are one of those things when your eye looks at it, there's a wonderful arbor, it's immediately going to be attracted, I think, to this grid system. So it's got to look good. So how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. You take a 2x4, and that's my spacing all the way along. So it's idiot proof. You can't go wrong, right? All right, so I've already marked the bottom one here, put my safety glasses on, and come over here and get the next one. Give it a little tap, level it up, like so. Put a brad in it, and then come down on this end and make sure it's also level on the mark, which it is. Put a brad in there, and then you come along and you stick a brad in every one of these cross boards, and there you go. It's that simple. It's just a little tedious because it takes a while to do the verticals and the horizontals. Well, with my new supply of cedar, I was able to complete this part of the arbor, and I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Now, I'm moving over to the other side. I was able to complete this side of the arbor with these matching lattices. Now, most people would say, well, you're finished. Well, not by a long shot. There's still many more things I want to do this. But what are they? Well, that'll be coming up on the next episode, but essentially I'm going to be drilling down through this plate, and as I mentioned previously, and creating weep holes. And weep holes is when it rains, the water isn't going to be sitting on that bottom sill, it's going to be draining through. And even though it's pressure treated, over time, you know, it's a precautionary thing. Now the next thing is, I want to be able to prep this. What do you mean by prepping, Rob? Well, prepping is, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but pressure treated wood has to be, you know, out in the open for like 3 to 4 months before you stain it or paint it. Well, not in my book. Call me crazy, right? Well, I'm going to be prepping this thing by sanding down all the corners, all the angles, and so on and so forth, so it's easy to the touch. And the other thing is, I'm going to be putting a coat of primer on it. Now, a coat of primer is going to seal this thing, so then when I come back and put the final coat, which is going to be a water-based semi-gloss, white, so it matches the other fences that we have and so on and so forth. It'll give it a good fighting battle, if you will. So I don't wait the 3 months, I do it right away. That's the Rob Kircher way. Right or wrong, that's the Rob Kircher way. And to be honest with you, I just want to get it done because I'm so excited to think about spring and what we're going to be doing here. We want to plant climbing red roses. So I think it's going to be very, very pretty. All right, so stay with me and, you know, let's see what happens.